Good morning, all Blitzies. Hope you guys are doing well during this new version of the lockdown level 3. Today we are here with the former Protea hockey player called Nicole, Fleur, and today we're going to just ask her some questions and just hear a bit more about her career so far and just stuff that stood out. As you can remember, the previous time we spoke to Protea cricket player, Cricket Malan, and we've learned a lot about his life so far and his prospects for the next year or so. First of all, welcome Nicole. Thank you for spending some time with us.
Bonjour, Sias.
Lovely
to see you.
Lovely to have you. Thank you for taking the time out of your schedule just to meet with us. Okay. First question I want to ask you, Nicole, is just introduce yourself to the listeners. Where did you grow up? Which school were you at? And when did you start falling in love with hockey?
Cool. Hello everyone. I'm Nicole, and I actually, when I was growing up, I wanted to play cricket. I had dreams of playing cricket for South Africa. So that was my goal. But cricket's a summer sport, and when I got to school, I had to play a winter sport. So I was like, oh, let me just play a sport. And I picked hockey. And I was at a school, and we kind of just had practice, and you just had to do your own thing. And then I moved to a different school that was much smaller, actually. And I remember the thing that stood out for me about hockey is that we were such a small school that when I was in grade 7, my whole hockey team was all the girls in my grade. I think we were like 15 girls maybe in my whole grade, so it was tiny. And so all of my friends were on my team. And I remember we'd go on these tours, and it was just so much fun. And I think that is why I fell in love with hockey, because it's just so much fun to have with your friends, with your classmates, and that's where my passion started. And then I actually played quite well, which always, makes you feel good, do something right, and especially when you're in a supporting environment where your friends are backing you, it's also really great. And then I ended up eventually playing for Burnout, and then made some SA squads at school, which was really so surprising to me. I was like, sure, this is quite cool, maybe I should keep playing. And then I was at the same time I was playing cricket as well, and I had to eventually make a choice between the two. And then I went on to play at varsity and for the national team. So yeah, it's been a really awesome experience.
Nice. And tell me, in February 2016 is when you excuse me, made your debut for the South African team. What did that match mean to you, and what can you remember about that match, if you can recall?
Sure. It was so interesting because I had played in the junior SA team, and after that I didn't get selected again, didn't really get asked to play for the senior team, so I was kind of like, is all this effort worth it? Should I keep trying? And so I said in the year before that, I was like, okay, this is my last year of trying to push for SA. And then I got invited to an SAA camp, actually. I think maybe the beginning of Jan of that year, and then they needed keepers for the SA team. They were playing a test series, and they asked me to come with to that, and then that was the tournament that I got my debut cap for SA. It was really special. I think it was really nice. There were a few other friends that were also having their debut on that day, so it was quite exciting for us. Because it was in Cape Town, my family could be there, my mom came, my dad came, so it was really cool. And such a great experience, and something that you worked really hard for. It didn't come easily, it took a lot of time, and I think it was really special to be playing for your country, singing the national anthem, even though you're very nervous. It was really special.
And tell me, any nerves? Obviously you had nerves, but how did you manage to shake those nerves during the match?
I don't know, goodness. Nerves are tricky. They can have two effects. They can make you play really well. It's like a nervous excitement. And then you can have a nerve that is really bad, like a fear nerves. And I think my excitement was quite high, higher than my bad nerves. And it was my first game. I don't think I'd learned too much about controlling nerves. And as you play more, you kind of you get a feel for what you need to be doing to control it and harnessing it. Yeah, so experience also plays a role there. I think having a good support system in terms of people that know your ability and they back you, especially your teammates, is really important, because I think with nerves sometimes you doubt yourself and you don't have a lot of confidence, and then you end up playing badly because you just don't have confidence in yourself. But I think when other people can, show you, hey, you're really good in this area, you're really great, keep doing this, these are areas where you need to really focus on because you can be better here. So yeah, speak truth, but do it in a way that builds the person up. So I think that's something that helps me knowing, okay, I know this is an area I need to be better at, but I'm really good in these areas. And just being confident, building confidence helps with nerves.
Absolutely. Tell me, Nicole, you said, or you mentioned earlier that you have suffered from burnout before in your career, which it's a scary thing for an athlete to experience. Can you tell us a bit more what that is, and maybe how to prevent that, or give advice to young athletes growing up to avoid burning out as a result?
Yeah, sure. It's quite an experience, eh? So burnout is it's basically when you've overexerted yourself. So you've done too much. Your body can't handle it, your emotions can't handle it, but one of the key aspects about burnout is that you lose motivation. So you no longer want to be playing or want to be putting in the effort because you just don't feel like it's worth it anymore, or you just aren't excited to be doing it. And when you are in a setup where you have to do it, you have to train, you have to put in the hours, and you really don't want to, then that leads to a lot of psychological problems, and it makes you feel even more tired. You don't like getting up in the morning, everything's an effort. So I think there's overtraining, which is where you're doing too much and your body actually starts taking strain and you can't do any more. Your muscles start to get deteriorate. But burnout is more psychological. You are also overtrained, but now your mind is like, nah, I can't do this anymore. And so that's just kind of a technical breakdown of what burnout and overtraining is. I think I studied sports science, and so I studied this, but when I had burnout, it didn't click. So I think a nice thing is to just look for some warning signs. And so for me, that appeared in, like I said, not being at all excited about exercising or training. Like I know some days I would sit and I would start crying before I had to do an exercise session. It was just, the thought of doing more exercise was just so terrible. And even though I really wanted to play, it was just too much for me. And so I think in terms of thinking about warning signs, definitely, are you motivated to exercise? Are you struggling to get up in the morning? You just feel so down about life. Do you get sick very often? So that's what happened. I would start getting really sick all the time and just taking really long to get better. My chest would be tight all the time. Like I would just walk up a slight hill and I'd be out of breath. So things like that, just always tired, not motivated. So those are some of the signs. Change in mood, like getting irritated quite easily, being very sad and quite down, and maybe getting short bursts of anger with people. So yeah, it impacts all areas of your life, and it's something to really know what's going on in your body and in your person, so that you don't reach that point. And you need to have people around you that are also saying, hey, listen, I'm worried about you, this is happening. I can see that your moods are really low, you're very irritable, you're very tired. So people can help you, so you don't get really, really bad before you look for help.
Sure. I don't think I can add anything to that. But yeah, that is an important thing, and I see it in a lot of kids where they do multiple sporting codes in one day. So I think it's important to address that soon, and I like what you said about the warning signs that you can look out for. That's very cool. Tell me, Nicole, in terms of your career so far, is there something or an event that stood out for you that you're really proud of? I know you mentioned your debut for South Africa. Is there any other events or achievements that you've had so far that really stands out for you in your career?
Sure. Well, one thing I will say, because I have to say it, there's definitely been a 360 turnaround. 360. That just makes you go back in the same direction. I always say that. 180. So it was actually in 2015, so before I made my debut for SA, I came to know the Lord Jesus Christ, and I became a Christian. And that really changed. I mean, I'd gone to church for many years, but I never knew the grace of, I can't do anything, I can't be good enough to earn His love, but He gives it freely to me. And I think that also was something that was big in my career, is that I was always trying to work and earn people's approval and earn my place and, do. And so to have this life-changing message of, it's already been done, Jesus died for our sins, I can be saved, I can be in a relationship with God, it was phenomenal. And I think it changed, like I was saying in the beginning, you can get a fearful stress of playing, like I don't want to make a mistake. And I think we can also have that kind of like fearfulness in our religion or our beliefs. But now to have this freedom of my sins are forgiven, and just to enjoy that love was also something that then transferred in my hockey. And I could say, man, I'm not going to be afraid of making mistakes. If I make a mistake, learn from it, enjoy the experience. And so that was a big change in my career. In terms of an event, I think, sure, such a tricky one. I think a specific match that stood out for me was an indoor hockey match. We played against the best team in the country, the KZN Raiders team, and yeah, it was a very, very tough match. We ended up losing 3-1, but I think I made a ton of saves in that game. It was cool. It was good to feel like in good shape and playing well, and so I really enjoyed that game. So that stands out for me.
Okay.
Yes.
And something we probably should have mentioned earlier is that you're a goalkeeper.
Yes.
That's one thing that I have no experience. Excuse me. No experience in, and during a match, that's what I would think. Doesn't it get boring throughout the match? That's something that's been a question of mine since I was a small boy. Like you just stand there, if the ball comes to you, you save it. How do you stay engaged in the match if your team is so good that it's just constantly in the other opposition's half? How do you stay engaged in the game?
That is a very tough question. Well, not question, it's a very tough thing to deal with. I mean, I experienced it for many years. I played for Marty's, and they're such a good team that some matches you don't do anything, and it's difficult. It's very tough. And I think you just have to manage your role, and how I've seen matches where goalkeepers will do nothing in the game, and then it comes towards like the last few minutes, and they have to pull off an incredible save, and they have to have been ready for it. Something that I always do is I talk to my defenders a lot, because as goalkeeper you are in charge of your defensive structure. So even if the ball's on that side of the field, you still have to have some protection. You can't have everyone on that side of the field, and then the opposition gets the ball, and now everyone's running around to try and stop them. So as a goalkeeper, you've got to be keeping everything organized, and that keeps you involved in the game.
Okay, that makes more sense to me. Tell me, Nicole, the last question that I want to ask is, for all the other parents out there, would you encourage them to let their kids do sport? I know it's a question that we always ask, but it's very interesting for me to hear from other people's and coaches' perspectives. Would you encourage them to do sports, and if so, why? What is the benefit of it?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm not a parent. I'd love to be, but I'm not yet. So I know there's a lot of different stresses on parents. I think sport for children is so incredible, and I think for me, having to take a break from sport, I realized how much sport actually taught me and the benefit it added in my life. So I think definitely encourage your kids to play sport. I would caution against encouraging them to play sport for the sake of winning or performing well, especially at a young age. There's so much value to sport. I mean, you asked that question about what have been standout moments in my hockey career, and none of them have really been performance related. They've been friendships. Like, I can tell you the depth of friendships that I've made. I have some medals, but they're all in my cupboard. They're hidden away. No one sees my medals, but my pictures of my friends, my hockey friends, are on my wall. So, you know, there's something that sport adds that's so much deeper than performance. So encourage your kids to build relationships in their sport, to learn tough lessons, like what it means to wake up early in the morning and, you know, go diligently train, because you're part of a team and you want to all perform. And I think it's a great outlet for kids, you know, physically just get moving, stay healthy and fit, get away from their devices, teaching skills that transfer when they grow up, when they've got a job one day. How do you work with people? How do you, even when things are not going your way, you know, how do you keep working hard? So I think there's so many skills and life lessons that will benefit them when they get older, and that's what sport really does.
Absolutely, and I think over the past, or the previous 2 interviews that we've had, a lot of similarities that came out about the lessons being taught in sport. So I think you are spot on in terms of that, and I can say for myself as well, the lessons that you learn, you can't learn anywhere else, which is really crucial. Nicole, thank you so much for your time. It's always a pleasure hanging out with you.
Yes.
And I hope we see each other soon, and good luck for the rest. I know you are coaching at the moment more frequently. Is there any other prospects for the next few years playing hockey again at a high level, or?
I don't know. Yeah, we will see how it goes. Just taking it one
it
day at a time. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, we'll keep an eye out for sure.
Cool.
All right. Thank you, Nicole.
Thanks,
we appreciate it.
Good
Thank
to
you.
see you, brother.
And we'll talk soon again.
Awesome.